Okay, here we want to find the derivative of y equals x times the inverse sinh of x over 3. Um, Now, the fact that it is x times a function, we are going to have to do the product rule to find this derivative. But before I do that, let's just focus on that inverse sinh of x over 3. We already know that the derivative of inverse sinh of x is 1 over the square root of 1 plus x squared. Okay, we came up with that formula in class. How does that help us find the derivative of inverse sinh of x over 3? Well, all we have to do is just replace x with x over 3 here. So we replace x with x over 3 here, and we remember to multiply times the derivative of x over 3 because of the chain rule. Okay, so the derivative of inverse sinh of x over 3 is going to be 1 over the square root of 1 plus x over 3 squared times the derivative of x over 3, which is 1/3. Very important to use the chain rule there. Okay, now I'm gonna simplify this a little bit. Okay, because let's see, what do we have here? Um, we've got the square root of 1 plus x squared over 9. Okay, that's really what's under the square root. And then I've also got this times 1/3. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to write the 3 as the square root of 9. Okay, now why would you do that? Well, because I want to combine these two, and it's easier to multiply a square root times another square root. Okay, so if I can write the 3 as a square root of something, then it's going to be easier for me. Okay, so this is going to be 1 over, and yeah, the way you multiply two square roots, I'm going to use a little algebraic fact here. The square root of a times the square root of b is the same as the square root of a times b. Okay, so I can say that I'm multiplying two square roots here. That's just going to be one big square root. It's going to be the square root of 1 plus x squared over 9 times 9, which you can distribute the 9 in the parentheses there. If 9 times 1 would be 9, and then 9 times x squared over 9. Here the 9's are going to cancel. You're just going to get x squared. Okay, so we just figured out that the derivative of inverse sinh of x over 3 is actually 1 over the square root of 9 plus x squared. That's going to be an important component in coming up with our actual answer here. Okay, so the derivative of x times the inverse sinh of x over 3 by the product rule. Product rule says it's the derivative of the first times the second. Now the derivative of x is just 1, so it's going to be 1 times inverse sinh of x over 3 plus, the product rule says you have to do plus the first times the derivative of the second. So the first is x times the derivative of the second, which that's what we did right off the bat, right? It took a lot of work, but the derivative of the second really is just 1 over the square root of 9 plus x squared. So I'm just going to simplify that a little bit. So that's just going to be inverse sinh of x over 3 plus x over the square root of 9 plus x squared. Okay, that's using the product rule, and it's also we also use the chain rule there to find the derivative of that second function there, the inverse sinh of x over 3.